What's going on, everybody? It's the Hook Cam back again with another film breakdown. This time we're taking a look at the Baltimore Ravens, and really the reason being is when I was going back and watching film, I kept wondering, what were they doing that made their running game so effective? Were they doing something really revolutionary? Were they bringing back old stuff? Was it just the fact that Lamar Jackson is an absolute freak in the backfield? And to be honest, it's really a combination of all three. Football is something that you never really invent anything new. You just bring back old stuff. And the Ravens are running stuff that it's a version of what was run a long time ago in 50s, 60s, maybe even a little bit in the 40s as far as their option game, and then they just add a nice little new spin on things, and it's a really a fun offense to watch when you can step back and just appreciate the game. Now, before I dive into this video, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to Jackson Kruger Sports, as well as to my channel, The Hook Cam. I would greatly appreciate that. Any and all support really means the world to us. I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's staying safe. And of course, I hope everybody is washing their hands. Now, first play I want to take a look at, this is literally play one from this season. And they run a really, really simple power, right? Really simple power. You pull your guard, you have your fullback kick out on the end, and they end up picking up massive yardage on them. Man, we're talking 50, 60 yards on this play. So what was so different about it? What made it so effective? Now, first things first with this, really the way this ball is handed off, and I know a lot of people might think that's really just a minute detail, but the fact that as a quarterback you open up this way, right? That's going to get linebackers kind of working to that side of the formation, right? If you show the ball this way, you're going to have backers who hesitate or at least take a step. Now, he does a good job as far as taking that step upfield. He might be reading a guard on this, which is why, but still, it gives him a little hesitation. Why is he opening up that way? And then, of course, our fullback, number 42, does an excellent job on this play. With our offensive tackle here, because this is a 6 tackle in, we're working down with this, right? They're working to move that double team, get up to that Mike linebacker, and seal him off so he has nowhere to work over this way. Now with our fullback, he does a really good job because there's not a lot of space in this gap right here. Not a lot of space, but he does a good job working this thing, trying to get to that inside shoulder. He can't, right? So what do you do with this? You log it. Does a really good job keeping his helmet on that play side. He's fighting for his life right here, and then you can see him recollect with his hands, right? Reestablish his hands, and now he's working to that play side shoulder. Really good job on that. The other thing that I wanted to point out on this play is our guard who's pulling, number 77. A lot of times when we're pulling on this, guards will freak out because they're supposed to insert here, but there's no gap, right? But he does a good job just kind of following this thing over and pulling to the most dangerous man, which is right there. Not who he had originally planned to pull for. Excellent job there. So what does it show us? They're messing around a little bit in the backfield with where they're showing that ball. Excellent pull by the guard and a really good job by their fullback of working upfield and establishing that those hands as he's working on that end man on the line of scrimmage. Excellent job. Now, we work on to this next play, right? Again, what are the Ravens doing that's so revolutionary? And it's really not a ton that's, like I said before, really revolutionary. They're just being more creative with how they do things. Now, in this situation, right, teams are going to start to learn how to play you. They're not just going to run all over on them. So you can see we've got a ton of dudes in the box, right? We got 4 down, 6, 7, and then we got a corner or safety rolling down right here. Okay, now, how the Cardinals attack this is their defensive end. He's going to take this gap, right? Their linebacker is for the back, and their safety right here is for the quarterback, okay? But how we block this up front is really good. So this is when you start kind of getting into, is it a gap read or a zone read? And there's a lot of theories being thrown around out there. To be honest, I'm not going to act like I know. I've heard gap read, and gap read makes the most sense for me. Now, what gap read means is that you are responsible for a gap. So if you have any presence show up in this gap, that's now your responsibility. As far as with zone reads, it's a little bit more fluid with who you're blocking and how you get there. So with this, excellent job by 86, right? As we get this stunt into this gap, we're nice and patient with that first step, stepping upfield, but not a ton, and then we're locking on and driving this thing down the line of scrimmage. Excellent job. Now, this is where things get a little sticky as far as defensively what we're trying to do, and offensively it's very fluid with how we get it done. Okay, so we had our fullback who is lined up on the right side of the formation. Well, he does a great job coming all the way across and widening, right? See how wide we're going with this? Well, that's going to cause this linebacker to hesitate just a little bit. First off, who has the rock? We have to decide that. And secondly, do we need to fight underneath this pursuit, right? Underneath this block? Well, Lamar keeps it, and he's responsible for the back, so he's just going to take the back. Totally understand that. But now, as you've widened with that fullback, now we're working up to that second level, and there's really nobody there to contain Lamar Jackson. Even if there was, he's going to have some space to move and just the athletic ability to get around him. But just the way that they have their blocking scheme designed, right? Gap read or zone read, whatever you want to call it, fullback coming across the formation, targeting that safety at the next level. Really, really phenomenal stuff out of the Ravens as far as getting this play dialed in and accounting for everybody even up to the second level. Now, the Ravens did a lot of things with 12 personnel, which is just one back, 2 tight ends, but obviously they window dressed it so it's not just your classic, right, 2 tight end set. We got this tight end who's lined up over here in our number 1 position, and he motions across the formation. Well, when you motion a cat like that across the formation, it's going to widen defense. It's going to widen edge defenders, right? So with this cat right here, stay more upfield because we have to honor that motion, right? We have to stay true to that. So we're going to come upfield because we don't want to lose contain. But as we're widening here, they're going to run their really simple, very same gap zone. So they're working down into their gap, working upfield. Everything looks good. But since we widened that, now we have a bunch of space to work with right here. We also have this safety who's widening with us, because he's technically responsible for the motion. But we can't lose contain on the edge of this defense. That's why this cat is staying wide. Now with our other back our other tight end who's in the backfield, he's leading this zone right up to the mic. He knows exactly where he's going. He's going straight up to the mic. So we widen this defender, read option look. So we give it on that because his feet were moving upfield, and Mark Ingram's off for a solid 6 or 7 yards. This is a phenomenal play by Bobby Wagner, and that's why it wasn't a pickup of much, much more. Now moving on to this 4th and goal play. Phenomenal play with this right here. Just like hard-nosed football, right? And it's cliche. It's kind of, it's corny, but it's really true because all they run with this is power. They're just going to run a really simple quarterback power. Okay, again, we're going to get that motion a little bit, so it's going to bump guys over and it's going to widen guys just a little bit, right? You can see that right there. Right? That's all you want with that motion. That's all you want. You just want that little bit of movement because watch what it does to the rest of this play. First off, phenomenal double team with our, I believe that's our tackle and tight end on this because we have a 6 offensive lineman in. Yes, it is. Phenomenal double team with these 2 cats moving up to the next level. That's really what opens this thing up. But with that motion, look where we are with our backer now. We should be inserting right here, but we got this motion carrying us over, who are moving this thing over so it looks to the backers like a sweep, and then we're pulling our guard underneath to seal this thing up. Lamar does a phenomenal job reading this defense, right? Seeing how that we have everybody who's moving this way. Everybody's moving to the edge of this thing out to the field, and now he's going to cut it upfield for an easy touchdown. Just that play calling, the motions pre-snap, they do so much to manipulate defense before the ball's even snapped. Now, once this ball is snapped, what's going to happen is this fullback right here is he's going to widen this whole thing, right? He's widening upfield, okay? With our offensive line, they're going to be running speed options, so they're just trying to reach everything and get up to that next level, right? We're not concerned about this edge man on the line of scrimmage because he's the read guy. We're reaching here. We're working up to that second level with our tackle, right? Ideally, you want him to get around, give a little bit of help on this defensive end, and that guard is going to take a Marshall Yond, a phenomenal football player. Unfortunately, he just retired. Well, fortunately for him, he just retired. Phenomenal career. But with this fullback, we're going to widen Kyle Van Noy. Widening. So he can't really attack this speed option until it gets to a point where he's got to shut it down. He knows, all right, it's speed option. I got to settle down here. Once he settles like that, we're going to pitch this football, and now we got the edge of the defense. And that fullback who is widening, now he's lead blocking on whoever the next man in that alley is. It's just these play designs and how they put defensive ends and edge linebackers in these positions that are really a pickle. They don't really know how to react to it. It's tough to react to it because it messes with your rules as an offense. So this next play is going to be a really simple power read, and it's run a little bit differently than the way I have run it before, but it's still very, very effective. So in this situation, our tight end's going to work down on this defensive end. We're going to give a quick hand for help, and then we're working up to the backside linebacker in this situation. All right, we're working down with our guard, working over with our center back to this backside end. Our tackle is going to be step hinging. Okay, now with our fullback on this is the part that's really interesting to me because he's going to work up and make it look like it's true power, right? But as he gets to that defensive end, this dude's technically the read guy. So he's going to chop his feet and then work up to that backer, okay? So Lamar, as we're working here, there's 2 options in power read. You can hand it off to your back who's running flat down the line of scrimmage to attack the edge of that defense, or you can hop and read with him and then insert for power. right? Which is exactly what they do. We give that read look. It looks like they're attacking the edge of this defense. It looks like they're giving that ball off for a sweep. And we have our backer and our defensive end who are both thinking that. And then we insert underneath it, and we've got some good yardage. Now, with this fullback, this is a key to this whole play. He attacks the end man on the line of scrimmage and then works up to this backer to block him. Phenomenal job by 42. Really, really special stuff there as far as what he's able to do on that play and really blocking 2 guys with 1. Now, moving on to this full house or diamond look, whatever you want to call it, we're going to get that zone or that gap read a lot like we saw in the last couple of clips. It's going to have a little wrinkle to it. Most of the times in this situation, you're going to read the end man on the line of scrimmage. But what the Ravens do in this situation is they're going to read this defensive lineman, okay? So what we're going to do with our right tackle is we're going to work out to this linebacker. We're going to combo with our center and our guard up to this middle linebacker here. He's going to come up and he's going to fill this gap, right? He is for the running back. What we're doing with this linebacker is we should be scraping across the top of this formation, right? But we're not in this situation. They're both filling, and that's why there's so much room to work on this. Because what we're doing with our 2 fullbacks, right, is we're influencing. We're trying to widen to this side of the field. So Kyle Van Noy's stuck in a pickle right now because we have to widen with that fullback. We give that dive look. Lamar obviously keeps it. And now we have 3 cats staring at the running back, and we have Alley to work with as this other fullback leads up. And that's really where this ball is supposed to hit, right in this gap right here, as you can see. Right, so Lamar, as he keeps that, now we have 86 working up to the next level, and we have Lamar with a fullback in front of him. Excellent cut by him too, by the way. So in this situation, they're going to give the 49ers a dead side, right? And all the dead side means is that there's no receiver to this side of the formation, right? So what we have is this tight end here, and what he's going to run, it looks like a vertical to Richard Sherman down here. And I just think this is a cool little wrinkle they do. This looks like a vertical. That's why Richard Sherman's backpedaling and getting back into coverage. But as you can see, it turns out to be a running play, and Lamar's up for a decent amount of yardage. Now, offensive line-wise, like we say, it's a lot of the same thing. It's not necessarily like they're doing something different every single play. It's a lot of the same, right? We're going to identify the Mike, as that center just did. And then we're going to work a really simple gap scheme or zone scheme combo up to that Mike. Right now, in this situation, what the Niners are doing, they're telling this defensive end, crash down the line of scrimmage no matter what. You're going to try and take that running back no matter what, and we're going to scrape across the top of this thing with our linebackers. Okay, but once again, what are we doing with our fullback in the backfield and with this tight end? We're giving that wide look, right? I just showed you what that tight end's doing to the corner. Now we're doing the same thing over here with this tight end. Right, as he's coming across the formation, right, now he's going to work up onto 29. Good cut from him, and we're working up for a good gain. So again, with the Ravens, it's not like they're doing something that's insanely revolutionary. Like I said, all of this stuff has been done before. It's just dressed up into what it should look like today, and they are absolutely crushing teams with it. It's very hard to get your team, to get your defense to be gap sound in every situation, because at the end of the day, you're not prepared to handle Lamar one-on-one. Lamar is too good of an athlete. He's going to be probably 95% of NFL defenders one-on-one in an open space. He's just too good. So now you have to adapt. And if I were a defensive guy, I would want Lamar to give the ball every single time. I would not want him to ever keep the rock because he's so dangerous when he starts to run it. So anyway, that's my video on what the Ravens are doing with how they're running the football. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this was informative to you. If you liked it, if you could hit that like and subscribe button to my channel, The Hook Cam, as well as to Jackson Kruger Sports, it would mean the world for me. Can't thank you guys enough for your support, and I will see you next time.